They say blood is thicker than water, but for my son, a concert ticket was thicker than blood. He left me in the ER at 7 p.m. and didn't check back until the next morning. He wanted the front row at a show. Now he's got a front row seat to his own eviction. I'm Arthur Sterling, and I'm about to show my son exactly what happens when you trade your father's life for a night out. My name is Arthur Sterling. I'm 68 years old. I started Sterling Construction with a used pickup truck and a toolbox that belonged to my grandfather. I've survived 3 recessions, 2 broken legs, and a business partner who tried to bleed me dry in the 90s. I'm not a man who complains. I'm a man who works. Then there's Julian, my only son. I gave him the childhood I never had. Private schools, a car on his 16th birthday that cost more than my first house, and a corner office at the firm the day he graduated college. I thought I was giving him a head start. I didn't realize I was giving him a reason to be lazy. The heart attack, the warning shot, as the doctors later called it, didn't happen at work. It happened at home during a Friday night dinner. Julian had come over not to check on me, but to ask for an advance on his quarterly bonus. I need 50 grand, Dad, he'd said, swirling a glass of my best scotch. There's a vintage car auction in Vegas, and I can flip a Shelby for double by Christmas. I was about to answer when the room started to spin. The pain hit me like a sledgehammer. I fell against the dining table, shattering a plate of porcelain that had been in the family for 3 generations. Julian, hospital. I managed to choke out. He didn't panic. He didn't call 911. He looked at his watch. Seriously? Tonight? Dad, I have VIP passes to the Ecopulse Festival. I've been waiting months for this. He did the bare minimum. He put me in the passenger seat of his BMW and drove me to the ER. But the moment we checked in, the clock started ticking. Not for my life, but for his concert. 6:45 p.m. We are in the waiting room. 7:30 p.m. The pain is worse. I'm sweating through my shirt. Julian is pacing. 8 p.m. He leans over me. He smells like expensive cologne and impatience. Look, Dad. The triage nurse said you're stable. That means you're fine. I've got friends waiting at the gate. If I miss the opening set, I lose the whole night. You've got your phone, right? Call me when they move you to a room. I looked at him. My son. The boy I taught to throw a curveball. The man whose college tuition I paid in cash. Julian, stay. Please. Don't be dramatic, Arthur, he said. He used my first name. That was the moment the color of the month changed for me. You're tough. You're a Sterling. I'll check in on you tomorrow morning. He walked out. He didn't look back. He left his 68-year-old father clutching his chest in a room full of strangers so he could go listen to a DJ in a field. I sat there for 12 hours. The hospital was understaffed. A massive multi-car accident on the I-95 had sent the ER into a tailspin. I was forgotten in the corner of that plastic and chrome purgatory. Except for one person. Her name was Maya. She was a night shift nurse, probably no older than 25. She had tired eyes but a voice that sounded like a warm blanket. Every 30 minutes, despite the chaos, she came to my chair. She brought me water. She checked my pulse. She adjusted the pillow she'd brought from the back for my neck. "Where's your family, Mr. Sterling?" she asked softly at 2 a.m. as she sat on a stool beside me, checking my vitals. "He had an appointment." I lied. I was still protecting him. Even then. Maya looked at me. She knew. She'd seen 1,000 Julians in her career. "Well," she said, squeezing my hand. "I'm here. I'm not going anywhere until you're in a bed." She stayed past her shift. At 6 a.m., when the morning light was gray and cold, a bed finally opened up. Maya didn't just hand me off. She wheeled me down herself. She stayed until the doctor confirmed I needed a stent. "Thank you, Maya," I whispered as they prepped me for surgery. "It's what we do, Mr. Sterling," she said with a tired smile. "Some people show up. That's all that matters." I woke up at 10 a.m. Saturday. The surgery was a success. My heart was pumping again, but my soul was stone cold. Julian strolled into my room at 11:30 a.m. He was wearing sunglasses indoors and carried a lukewarm coffee from the gift shop. He looked hungover. "Hey, big guy. Told you you'd be fine," he said, throwing himself into the guest chair. "The concert was insane. You wouldn't believe the pyrotechnics. Anyway, I talked to the doctor. He says you'll be out by Monday, which is great because I really need to talk to you about that $50,000 advance." I didn't say a word. I just looked at him. "Dad, you okay? You're looking at me weird." "Julian," I said, my voice low and gravelly. "I sat in that chair for 12 hours. I almost died in a hallway while you were watching fireworks. Oh, come on. Don't play the guilt card." He laughed. "You're fine. You're a Sterling. We don't do victim talk." That was it. The final withdrawal from the bank of my fatherly love. The account was now at 0. "Go home, Julian," I said. "Fine. You're cranky. I'll come back when you're in a better mood. And hey, think about that check. Okay? The auction starts Monday." He left. He thought he was still the heir to the Sterling throne. He didn't realize the throne had already been dismantled. I called my attorney, Robert Miller. Robert has been my fixer for 30 years. He arrived at 2 p.m. with a briefcase and a look of concern. "Arthur, what's going on? You sounded urgent." "Robert," I said, "I want to revoke the 2018 will. Every bit of it. The real estate, the shares in Sterling Construction, the liquid assets. All of it." Robert paused, his pen over the legal pad. "And Julian?" "Julian gets the BMW I bought him. And he gets the corner office for exactly 30 days. After that, his employment is terminated for gross negligence of duties. He wants to be an investor? Let him invest his own sweat." "And the estate?" Robert asked. "Where does it go?" "I want you to track down a nurse named Maya. Last name probably on the night shift roster at St. Jude. She stayed when my own blood walked out. I'm setting up a foundation in her name for nursing education. And the rest? The house, the cars, the millions. It goes to her. Outright." Robert stared at me. "Arthur, you're serious." "I've never been more serious in my life. Some people spend their lives making withdrawals. It's time I gave the balance to someone who actually makes a deposit." Monday morning. I was discharged at 9 a.m. I didn't call Julian for a ride. I called a car service. I went straight to the office. Julian was in his corner office, feet up on the desk, looking at car brochures. He looked up and grinned when I walked in. There he is. The man, the myth, the survivor. "You got that check for me?" I set a manila envelope on his desk. "Is this it?" he asked, tearing it open. His face didn't just change, it disintegrated. It wasn't a check. It was a copy of the revised will and a termination of employment notice. What is this, Arthur? Is this a joke?" "The only joke, Julian, was me thinking I could buy your character with my money. You left me for a concert, so I'm leaving you for a career. You have 1 hour to clear this desk." "You can't do this. I'm your son. That money is mine. That money was earned by a man who showed up," I said, leaning over his desk, my heart feeling stronger than it had in years. "You didn't show up, so you don't get paid." As security escorted him out of the building he thought he owned, I saw Maya walking into the lobby. I'd invited her there. She looked confused, still in her scrubs, probably having just finished another long shift of saving lives while the world slept. I walked over to her and handed her a very different envelope. "What's this, Mr. Sterling?" she asked. "That," I said, "is the proof that someone was watching. Thank you for staying, Maya." She opened it and saw the deed to the foundation and the scholarship fund. She started to cry, not the loud, fake cry of a person who wants attention, but the quiet, overwhelmed sob of someone who finally felt seen. I looked out the window as Julian's BMW sped out of the parking lot, his tires screaming in a rage he couldn't afford anymore. And I finally figured out that family isn't about whose blood is in your veins. It's about whose hand is in yours when the lights start to dim. Stay safe out there. And remember, always check who's sitting in the waiting room with you. You might just be looking at your future.